Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on MTV Sports, live from the News First studios in Colombo. I'm Shane Silva.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. With cross-border tensions on the rise in the Syrian crisis, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has issued a warning to Israel that Syria will respond in kind to any future airstrikes.
Now, will the civil conflict in Syria spark off a military confrontation in the volatile region?
We have more details coming up later on in the news, but first, a look at the headlines.
Thailand's Prime Minister addresses a special session of the Sri Lankan Parliament. 2 persons arrested over the killing of a businessman from Bambalapitiya. A further 22 affidavits submitted by persons who suspect that their relatives may be among those found in the Matale mass grave. And rough seas off the southern and western coast due to adverse weather. Met Department advisors caution when setting out to sea.
Now your news in detail. Prime Minister of Thailand Yingluck Shinawatra, who is on an official visit in Sri Lanka, addressed a special parliamentary session this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ayubowan and Wannakam. First of all,
Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra became the third head of state to address the Sri Lankan Parliament.
although we are separated by an ocean, our two countries share common religious faith and close cultural and political belief. The Sri Lankan people have always shown great courage in protecting their nations and the value of their democracy. On a personal level, I am deeply honored to be addressing the same parliament where the world's first female Prime Minister, Siri Mawo Bandaranaike, honorable members of the parliament. I am here in Sri Lanka with the intention to build an even closer partnership between our two nations and to seek Sri Lanka's support in building bridge of multi-dimensional cooperation throughout Asia.
Subsequent to addressing the parliament, Yingluck Shinawatra engaged in a cordial discussion with the parliamentarians. A decade ago, on the 15th of August 2003, the visiting Thai Prime Minister's brother, Thaksin Shinawatra, addressed the Sri Lankan parliament.
Thai Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra also met with President Mahinda Rajapaksa this morning, and the two leaders held bilateral talks. The presidential media unit issuing a communique said that both leaders had agreed to further cooperation on defence and maritime security. President Rajapaksa noted at this meeting that it is important to exchange specialist knowledge and experience in eradicating terrorism and in dealing with threats facing the region. The communique also reads that the Thai Premier had stated that a country would extend its support in the future for a peaceful and prosperous Sri Lanka. Several trade and investment agreements between Thailand and Sri Lanka were inked today. We'll have the details on this first later on in the news.
A body with gunshot wounds that was discovered in Dompe on the 23rd of this month has been identified as that of a businessman from Bambalapitiya. The family of the businessman said he had been missing since the night of the 22nd. Police media spokesperson SP Buddhika Siriwardana said 2 persons have been arrested on suspicion of involvement in the incident.
35-year-old Muhammad Sham was a businessman involved in the footwear industry, residing at Sagara Road in Bambalapitiya. His family says that he was last seen leaving the house on the night of the 22nd of this month with a friend. His family said that he had taken the friend along with him to introduce him to a businessman in Gampaha. Information has now come to light that the friend who accompanied the victim, Muhammad Sham, had loaded him into another vehicle when they reached Mirihana. While there was no information as to his whereabouts since the night of the 22nd, on the 23rd a body with gunshot wounds was discovered in Dompe. The police said that the body had been kept at the mortuary of the Gampaha hospital until it was identified today. The body was handed over to the family this afternoon following the post-mortem examination. The police found the body on the 23rd and it was released to us yesterday. He is a businessman. He went out with his friend. We found out from the CCTV camera that a friend whom he had known for 8 years has done this. Investigations into the possible murder have been handed over to the Colombo Crimes Division. The two of them went together. Then the friend handed over my brother to a group in a pickup. This same friend also pretended to look for my brother. He even lodged a complaint at the police stating that my brother dropped him and headed home. But he had gone with my brother and handed him over to another group in Kamdevatta Road and had gone home in a different vehicle. The final rites were performed at the burial grounds of the Kalbovila Juma Mosque amidst the presence of family, friends and other eminent personalities. The police say that the vehicle in which Muhammad Sham had left his home on the 22nd was discovered the next day in Kandevatam, Mirihana. The police say that vehicle is currently in the impound lot of the Mirihana police. Although the police headquarters issues a daily media release on crimes and other incidents that have taken place, the daily releases of the 23rd or the next day did not contain any mention of the discovery of Muhammad Sham's body.
Inspector General of Police N.K. Ilangakun states that the police will not hesitate to arrest and produce before court the chairman of the Amlipitiya Pradeshia Sabha, M.K. Amila, who is alleged to have assaulted 2 police officers. Responding to inquiries made by News First, the IGP said a special police team has commenced an investigation into the whereabouts of M.K. Amila.
Over the past few days, News First reported about the assault of 2 police officers by M.K. Amila, the UPFA chairman of the Amlipitiya Pradeshia Sabha, who is yet to be arrested. When News First paid inquiries on the matter from Inspector General of Police N.K. Ilangakun, he said that the chairman of the Amlipitiya Pradeshia Sabha will be arrested and produced before court. News First questioned the IGP on whether the police is hesitant to arrest the suspect due to political connections. The IGP rejected such claims. IGP N.K. Ilangakun pointed out that since reports have emerged that the suspect has fled the area, extensive search operations are underway to locate him. Incidentally, the suspect, who is the chairman of the Amlipitiya Pradeshia Sabha, expressed his views to News First yesterday.
You do not need my location. Those carrying out their duties will find it. You are not looking into the cause of the incident. For instance, take a look at how these officers carried out their duties. I am not berating the police. Issues like this arise due to the actions of certain police officers.
The police officers were assaulted when they had stopped 3 individuals riding on a motorbike without helmets in the Daduhattapma area in Panamure on the 26th of this month. According to the police, the officers enforced the law as the individuals did not possess any legal documentation pertaining to the motorbike. Although the police stated that the chairman of the Amlipitiya Pradeshia Sabha had then arrived at the location and assaulted the police officers, the chairman rejected the allegations. P.G. Chandrasiri, the police constable who was assaulted, is currently receiving in-house treatment at the Amlipitiya Pradeshia Sabha.
මට දෙයක් කරන්න ඕන නම් මට අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉන්න මේ ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්තුමා ඉන්න මට ඉතින් කතා කරලා මට ඕන දෙයක් කරගන්න පුළුවන් මට එහෙම අතපාවිච්චි කරන්න අවස්ථාවක් නැහැ.
Meanwhile, UPFA parliamentarian Vidura Wickramanayaka says that politicians cannot go above the law even if they are in power.
බලය පාවිච්චි කරලා පහර දෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ බලය පාවිච්චි කරලා සමාදාන වෙනවා මේක යුතුයද අයුතුයද කියන
They use power to assault people and then they use their power to reach a settlement. The police must decide whether this should or should not happen. Recently, we saw politicians calling police officers over and assaulting them. Prior to that, we saw an official being beaten, but unfortunately, the official later said that he beat himself up. Prior to that, we saw some of the official who was tied up to a tree and later said that he tied himself up in a fit of madness.
ඊට කලින් අපි දැක්ක සමුද්‍ර නිලධාරියෙක් ගස් බැඳලා ඒ මිනිසියා කියනවා මම පිස්සුවෙන් වගේ ඊට පස්සේ ගස් බැඳගත්තේ
The MP made this observation while participating at the Divisional Coordinating Committee meeting held today at the Ingeriya Divisional Secretariat Auditorium.
The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption says that investigations are ongoing into the Homagama district judge who was arrested on charges of soliciting a bribe.
News First inquired from the chairman of the commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, former Supreme Court Judge Jagat Balapattabandi, as to whether previous verdicts handed down by the judge in question are being investigated. Balapattabandi said that these were not being investigated. The chairman said that future investigations would be based only upon the complaint that was received. He said that the Bribery Commission receives various complaints against high-ranking officials. However, he noted that investigations into some of these complaints cannot be taken forward. Chairman of the Commission, Jagat Balapattabandi, added that a number of new officers would be recruited in order to broaden the Commission's raid operations. He added that steps are also being taken to recruit officers for the Commission's investigations unit. The Homagama district judge, who is alleged to have solicited a bribe of 300,000 rupees to deliver a verdict in favour of an individual, was remanded until the 3rd of June after being produced before the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court yesterday.
The Criminal Investigations Department informed court today that an official request has been made to obtain the assistance of Interpol for investigations into the mass grave uncovered last year at the premises of the Mathle General Hospital. Hearings of the case pertaining to the mass grave were convened today before Mathle Magistrate and Additional District Judge Chaturika De Silva.
The CID also informed court today that steps have been taken to conduct DNA testing of the human skeletal remains that were discovered in the mass grave. Meanwhile, a further 22 affidavits were submitted to court today by individuals who suspect that the remains of their family members may be among those found in the Mathle mass grave. 13 affidavits had been previously submitted by 11 individuals. The magistrate said that a decision on whether or not these affidavits would be accepted would be announced on the 28th of June. The court also accepted today a request that had been made by the Bar Association of Sri Lanka to come forward as a stakeholder in the investigations into the mass grave. The mass grave was uncovered during excavations carried out to construct a biogas unit at the hospital on the 26th of November 2012. 155 human skeletal remains were discovered in this mass grave.
සමාජයේ වගකීමක් තිබෙනවා මේ මිනිසුන් සමූහය මෙම ඝාතන මිනීවර දක්වා ආවේ කොහොමද?
Today, society has a responsibility to ascertain how these people ended up in this mass grave, who killed them and who should be held accountable. This is a right of humanity in our country. It is a right of the people of this country. A clear investigation must be held into this and the guilty must be punished. Our country does not need a culture where mass graves are dug up every decade.
The Ministry of Health says that consumers need not worry when purchasing imported milk powder. Meanwhile, issuing a statement, Fonterra Brands Lanka states that it is confident that all of its dairy products meets the DCD-free standard to be introduced by the government from the 1st of June 2013.
Issuing a statement, the Ministry of Health notes that low levels of DCD, which have been detected in a small number of imported milk powder products, is non-harmful. The statement adds that specialists in the field have confirmed this fact. However, the Minister of Health notes that DCD or dicyandiamide should not be included in milk powder and adds that steps have been taken by the Ministry to ensure that imported dairy products meet the DCD-free standard. The Ministry also notes that it is a punishable offence to spread false information through the publishing of adverts and added that steps have already been taken in this regard. Meanwhile, issuing a statement, Fonterra Brands Lanka, quoting its managing director, notes that the organisation has not found any detectable traces of DCD in any of its branded products sold in Sri Lanka, and no traces of DCD have been found. The tests were carried out by the Cawthorne Institute of New Zealand, the largest independent science organisation specialising in science that supports the environment and development within industries in New Zealand. Managing Director of Fonterra Brands Lanka, Leon Clement, said that DCD is no longer used in New Zealand farms, so all products produced since mid-November 2012 are DCD-free.
We've worked with international laboratories who are internationally accredited to complete over 187 tests on our dairy products, and all of them show that they are non-detected for DCD. There's been quite a bit of misinformation around this issue. Some of it's been deliberately driven, and it's confused our consumers and our anchor milk drinkers, and we think they've got a right to know that their products are safe. So the bottom line is that there's been no DCD detected in Anchor or any of our milk products, and our products are safe regardless of the fact that DCD is a food safety issue.